personally, but thank you so much for joining my workshop today. I am Coach Tysha, CEO and founder of Professionally Pause. I created a platform for career coaching, workplace advice, and you can connect with me anytime you want to stop and have a pause and talk with me about all things professional. So for those unfamiliar with what I do, let me just kind of quickly go through that. So I would classify myself as a professional messaging expert. I focus on my power Ps, and that's what I call them, but professional storytelling, positioning, professional identity branding, and persuasion is my form of coaching. And I love helping others be their best professional and successful selves. So I'm happy to introduce to you one of my high demand coaching topics. This is actually a new one because of where we are in the midst of the pandemic. Many people, myself included, had to make a pivot to more of an online business model or more of an online model to life, quickly. And it seems like permanently, we are all now working, living, and playing online, right? So I just thought it'd be good to share what I see as tips to successfully boosting your online visibility and specific tips and strategies that you can employ for better online networking. So that's just a little bit of the overview. Today's workshop, it's called The Digital Professional, and the emphasis is just focusing on networking and raising your presence online. Here's a quick peek at the agenda. So we'll start, I'll start off with 2 strategies that you can implement right away for networking. These tips work in person, so you don't have to throw them away when outside opens back up. It's just, it works online and digitally as well. So I'll break those down for you. I threw in an extra workshop topic. We're going to spend some time talking on tips for impactful introduction. I'm a former sales gal, so I'm all about presenting yourself as impactfully as possible. So I'll go through tips on kind of pitching yourself or just introducing yourself with impact. Next, I'll move into LinkedIn visibility boosters. And I'll focus on LinkedIn as well as pretty much all social media tools. I'll focus on LinkedIn first, just since that's kind of more of a professional perspective, but I will go in other ways that you can boost your visibility online with the other social media platforms. And then we'll move into the art of the ask. I'll give you tips on just the do's and don'ts when it comes to networking. And then finally, I'll just conclude with some personal thoughts and open the floor for Q&A, okay? All right, so let's get started. Tips for digital networking. All right, so my first tip is networking like a professional. So today I'm going to show you 2 approaches for digital networking with impact. One is the what I call the ABC approach. The other one I call it the 3G networking approach. So 2 similar approaches, but they focus on 2 different things. The first one focuses more on how and when to make that connection for impact, and then the second one is just it's like a method, or it's a technique that you can use, and it's what makes it so powerful and special is that it establishes a mutually beneficial reason to connect. So it's kind of more of it's a circular method for networking, where you're giving something and you're definitely getting something. All right, so first moving into the ABCs of networking, and what that means is to align, broker, and communicate. So in general, people typically, they don't mind assisting you when you've educated them on what you need, especially if it's beneficial for them to know. But my specific advice is just, you have to target people who can help you directly, and then you have to give them instructions on how you can be helped. And I think this is where people fall short, where you're networking, you're meeting people, but you're not really properly making your ask, or you're not really establishing yourself or kind of educating them on what you might need or the purpose of making that connection. So that's really something to keep in mind. And you can do that through aligning, brokering, and communicating. So starting with with aligning, you're really building relationships, you're identifying who can help you specifically. And my tip for that is just groups. Groups is going to be the best thing that you can do. Groups are already kind of set in place where it's an invitation, it's an environment, it's a setting. You're not really asking too much to network within a group because there's a shared interest, or the tone of that group, of that setting is it's to network. That's kind of the purpose of a lot of groups. So you definitely want to identify new groups though. For those who only dabble in Facebook, you need to just dive all the way into Facebook. Facebook has so many groups, and I highly, highly recommend that you step your group game up on Facebook specifically. You can focus on groups based off of geographic, based off continent, based off culture, based off just a numerous amount of things. Like, for example, I, of course, am in groups for alumni. I'm also in groups for family. I'm in groups from like Liberian professional groups. That's where my family is from, for anyone who doesn't know that on the call. I'm in groups for women entrepreneurs. I'm in Christian groups. There's just, name the topic and you can find the group on Facebook, I promise you. So definitely step up your group connection. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to connect to. And it's just a very good and almost endless way and resource to connect to people and find new things. Also, Google has a lot of groups as well. I would strongly suggest that you at least do maybe 1 or 2 Google groups. That way you're getting a nice email digest every day. I know I'm part of, they call it the DMV Professional Beltway. I'm in that group. There's about 2,000 people in that group. I'm always sharing tips in that group. People are sharing, not recipes, but people are sharing resources like, hey, my company is hiring. You always want the inside scoop. And that's why you want to be a part of these groups, because you're part of a shared network where people will kind of be telling you, what's going on in their world. So that's that's probably the best benefit of groups, the fact that you get kind of that inside knowledge. All right. So ask your network and let them plug you. That's my tip on how to align. All right, so moving into brokering. So you're brokering a discussion, meaning you're arranging and you're negotiating that new relationship or that new connection. So some ways to do that: definitely use LinkedIn. You can connect by LinkedIn. You can also connect by emails and inbox messaging. Also, a new way that I'm networking and making new connections is through WhatsApp and also GroupMe. I didn't mention GroupMe earlier, but GroupMe is also a very good tool. But I feel like the only thing with GroupMe is you can't really search for groups within GroupMe. You kind of have to ask to be a part of a group, but it's still a great tool to use when it comes to networking. Request informationals. So for those who don't really know how to do that, LinkedIn now has a feature setting where you can literally on there say, I am open to networking, or I'm open to sharing, or I'm open to mentoring. And you always want to make sure that you connect with people who have that. You can actually search for that on LinkedIn as well. There's a filter for that, where you can just search on there for people who are open to networking or mentorship. And that's probably one of the best ways to get the inside scoop when it comes to preparing yourself to rock an interview or to learn more information about a specific career field. I know I'm listed on LinkedIn as a mentor based off of like my professional skill set, and people don't use it as much as they should, but it's an excellent tool. So definitely ask for an informational interview, or something that's new that you can totally take advantage of right now in the midst of kind of this online living, is asking for virtual coffee chat. I know I do that, or virtual happy hour. I do that all the time where you're just asking for about 10 or 15 minutes of time from with someone where, they're not really you're not taking time away from them because they're going through their emails and their coffee. You just would have happened to set up that Zoom call or that Google Meet or that Skype. So as they sip, you can talk, you can make your ask, you can make your introduction or what have you. Virtual introductions is also super powerful and important. Make sure that you're also using some of these social media platforms to do your research on who you want to connect to, because you need to figure out, okay, I want to connect to this person. Who do I know that's connected to this person? I feel like people don't really do that. So that's definitely a tip that I would recommend, that if you guys share a mutual friend, ask that friend, hey, could you set up a virtual intro for me? Again, you got to make your requests be known to people so they can help you. Employee referrals are always great too, testimonials and so forth. I know when a lot of my friends, like when I see the job, or maybe this is just me because it's who I am, but my friends on LinkedIn, when I see that they get new jobs, I'll say, hey, you need me to endorse a skill, or do you need me to, write you a testimonial? Make your ask. Make your ask for skills endorsements as well as for testimonials. Attend virtual events, something like this, or just position yourself to meet new sources. I think groups, and there's a lot of, what was it called in person? Meetup was a thing, but now there's a lot of virtual meetups that are happening, and almost everything is free nowadays. There are some things that you'll have to pay for, but Eventbrite is a great way to also search for free topics to meet new people or to be connected to new things. I would just say, the internet is your friend, and make sure that you use it. So I'm sharing this information just to give you specifics on what you can do, to better network. Also, arrange reciprocal exchanges. That's something that I think is also very important. I know me as a career coach, because I focus on professional messaging, I am also now connecting with new career coaches where their focuses are something else, just so we have like a little power, holistic, consortium happening. I specialize in the professional messaging, so the interviewing and the resumes, and someone else might focus on, like I just connected with someone who she focuses on job searches. That's all she does all day. She helps people find jobs. So these are just different suggestions that I would say in terms of brokering that relationship. So we aligned, we brokered, and now let's communicate. And what I mean when I say communicate, it's really just you're offering or you're asking, and you're sending that message, and you're making it clear on what you need. But more specifically than that, you are articulating, you are repeating, or you are giving contextual, verbiage to what it is that you're looking for, so they can repeat it. So networking is important, right? Finding the new people, connecting to the new people. But then what's going to be super important is when they ask you, how can I help? Or even if they don't ask you, you can say, hey, this is how you can help me. You just have to make it really clear on what that ask is for. So that's probably what I would say makes the difference between just meeting people and then establishing or building a relationship with someone where you have communicated who you are, what you kind of offer, what you do, or your purpose, or whatever it is that you want them to know. But then also you're communicating your ask, or, hey, I'm new to this field. It would help me out so much. Or, hey, you know what? I just want to follow you so I can see what you post, or if you come across XYZ information, if you could pass it to me, or whatever that ask is. Just, you have to communicate with folks on what it is you need and what it is that they can do for you, or how you can be helped. All right, so that's the ABCs of networking. Everyone tracking with me? All right, I'm gonna keep going. So the next method that I'm sharing with you, I call it the 3G method. And this is actually a new method to me, but it works so well online. So the 3G method is got, give, and get. And I classify it as smart networking because you're establishing a beneficial relationship. So how you do it, first you state your gut. And this is kind of your elevator pitch. It's your marketing ploy. It's whatever impression, the first impression that you want to make with someone. It's how you're introducing yourself. It's how you're kind of labeling yourself, or it's just what you are telling them that you want them to know most of all. So it's kind of like, this is who I am. This is what I have to offer. This is what I've got. All right. So moving into the next one, give. So this is what I give means just that. This is what I have to offer. So you're speaking in value to what you have, or in some instances, what you've received, because sometimes when you're networking and you're in a space where you're networking, where people are asking you questions, where sometimes you can say, well, this is who I am, but this is what this organization has done for me. So you're just sharing information. You're sharing either what you have to give or what you've received. Okay. I hope I hope that was clear. But just this is what the point of give is, this is what you can receive from me, or this is my value. This is the benefit of being connected to me. That's what's most important of all. When you're speaking in terms of what you have to give. All right, so got the got, we've got the give. Now let's get the get. So get is the last one, and this is just specifics on what you need, how you can be assisted. So this is kind of the C in the ABCs of networking, where you're communicating, where you're speaking in terms of, how you need assistance, how you can be helped, and it's just where you make it clear. Can you help me in this way? I like to request this XYZ thing. This is what I'm looking for, and this is how you can assist me. That's the most important part of all. So it's like, let's say you're networking online, or you're part of some group call or some Zoom call or something like that. And then there's a chat room on the side or something, and you've had the chance to introduce yourself, kind of introduce your value. Now, when it comes to the get, make sure you just make it clear. Hey, it would really help if, could I have your email, or I would love to be connected to you by LinkedIn, or I've got this thing that I'm doing. Can you share it within your network, or whatever the ask is? But you just have to be specific on what you need and how you can be assisted. All right, so got, give, get. That's the recipe for smart networking and building a beneficial relationship. All right, so, oops, sorry. I am moving right along. So now we're going to move into the impactful introduction. And it's what a lot of industries classify as an elevator pitch. So what an elevator pitch really is it's just, it's someone who's kind of successfully mastered the art of succinctly introducing themselves with impact. So it's an introduction, excuse me, to a person or a thing. And it's a high value, impactful way to sell or promote or introduce whatever it is that you're pitching or you're offering, whether it's yourself or product or whatever it is, whatever the value is. It's just kind of I keep saying introducing, an introduction to that thing, whatever that thing is. So think of it in terms of kind of, you know what, let me stop saying sell. I think a better way to put it is what you'd like to promote, or what you'd like to introduce to people when you come in contact with them. So if it's what you do, or is it, characters or traits that help to explain who you are, like, are you kind of given that, I'm a sales professional, or I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a this, I'm a that. It's just kind of that introduction, that high value introduction. So whatever it is that you want them to know when they come in contact with you, that's what you're pitching. So think of it as your personal brand statement. Really, it's like the identifying attributes that you'd like immediately known to whoever it is that you encounter. And remember that it's short, like an elevator ride. My suggestion is to make it 10 to 20 seconds, or 4 sentences or less. So it really helps to kind of shape your articulation of who you are, what you want to convey or tell people when you network with them, or when you're interviewing, or you're introducing yourself. And this is super important. an interview, because people can see, and I tell this to my clients all the time, people can see, they can read, right? Everyone can, well, most people can read, so they can see who you are, but that quick, impactful sum up is something that you really have to master. And it's something that you especially have to master when it comes to networking. All right, um, so yeah, so it's your personal brand statement. So I think I said this already. Yeah, so the keys to networking is really just kind of making it known what they can expect from you, and then more importantly, what's in it for them. So example of mine, hi, I'm Tysha Talbert. I'm the CEO of Professionally Pause. I provide career coaching, professional empowerment, and tactical tips and strategies to empower, enable, and lead people professionally. So what I did there, that was just 3 sentences, but I said who I was, what I offer, and my purpose behind what I do. So I stated my mission, I stated my profession, and then I stated what I offer to people. So it's as simple as that. So definitely get to practicing with those things, but it's super important to learn how to pitch. And if you want more information, I have created it's like a 5-minute training video. You can go to www.coachtasha.com/resources. It's listed within my free resources page as a tool. It's a short video, and I kind of give a good breakdown on how to pitch, or how to structure, or how to create your pitch. All right. All right, so moving into the next section, magnifying online visibility. So we've gone through the online networking strategy and how to introduce yourself and make your ask, but now it's time to start getting noticed online. So bunch of tips for you, and these are all strategies that I'm currently employing on myself. I'm currently embarking, like I mentioned before, I'm someone who also had to pivot during this pandemic time and create a completely new online business model for myself. And I was almost brand new to social media. I just, prior to this year, had not really spent a whole lot of time in marketing Professionally Pause in this way. So these are just some personal tips that I've learned along the way, things that I've studied, and now things that I'm sharing with my clients and my audience and followers on how to magnify your online visibility. So let's start with LinkedIn, just because we're speaking in terms of we're speaking more on a professional landscape, but I do have a couple of other tips for entrepreneurs and some other social media platforms. But I did want to start with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn quickly and shortly has become kind of like, how would I say it? It's almost like a digital background check. I feel like it's a new tool that when you're interviewing, or when people want to just kind of quickly take a peek at you, it's what people are utilizing to check you out, to learn more about you. So you really want to present yourself as strong as possible. So I want to go through a couple of different ways to do that. So starting with label and mission. So you want to brand and tag yourself in a way where people will get that gist of you just from that label. Like, for example, you are a sales professional, but you specialize in customer success. So your label or your mission as a sales professional may say something, along the lines of impacting my customers every day by transforming, or implementing solutions into their infrastructures for organizational success. I'm just giving an example here of how you can label yourself. And on LinkedIn, what's great about LinkedIn is LinkedIn offers headlines. And I don't know if you've noticed, but on LinkedIn, a lot of people will have that kind of power statement that introduces them, or introduces whoever's reading it to kind of who they are, what they represent. But labels are very in. I know as a resume writer, it's something that I make sure that I stamp on everyone's resume now, where it's just that impactful label that describes you. It's your brand. It's how you brand yourself. So on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that your headline speaks to what it is and what you want people to know about you professionally. Like, for example, I think mine says something like speaker, purpose-driven entrepreneur with something, 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 right? So you just kind of want that impactful statement. All right, so moving into summary. Now, I feel like people don't take advantage of the about section like they should, but the about section is where you put your skills and endorsements, all those things. Like basically you want to list in that section, whether it's a paragraph that just explains who you are and what you have to offer, but you have to get those words in there, those professional skill sets, your core qualifications as a professional should be in your summary. So whatever that kind of powerful summary is on your resume, make sure you have it highlighted on your LinkedIn page as well in that About Me section. It's your bio. So it's just like how, like in Instagram, there's bios, you've got 140. So you make it short and impactful, but you definitely want to summarize yourself. All right, so next, skills and endorsements. Make sure you list all the skills because remember, because it's like now a digital background check, people want to see, or people read through what it says you can do. So if you are, good at social media marketing, put that there. If your skill set is organizational development, program management, or whatever the skill is, make sure you have those things listed. It takes a little time. It's a little tedious to kind of click through and type it in there, but it's really what's going to shape your LinkedIn and really make it kind of aesthetically pleasing, where it's going to flesh it out. And that's what you really need. You need to be fleshed out online now for visibility. Endorsements, make sure you get some, like I mentioned before, and you don't have to go crazy with that, but I would say probably get 5 skill endorsements and make those the skill endorsements for kind of, that will tie into your label as a professional. Also, it'll tie into the types of jobs that you apply for. You want to make sure that you're endorsed for those specific skill sets. For example, someone said that they were internet, or they work for the UN. Tiffany said that she works for the UN. She's a program associate. So some of the skills that on there might be international program development or project management or whatever, but you just want to make sure that you have those skills listed and someone has endorsed you, meaning they have edified you, meaning they say, yes, that person, or yes, Tysha does know about sales. Yes, Tysha does know about career coaching or whatever. All right, so make sure you're endorsed. Next, posts, articles, and engagement is something that will really help to make you more visible on LinkedIn. Write a post, share a post, or comment on a written post. I would just strongly suggest that if you're trying to draw attraction, if you're trying to grow attention, to yourself, you have to take some time to be reflective. Or let's say the New York Times wrote an article and you have a thought to it, share the thought, share the article. That way, people will see that you shared it, but more importantly, people will like it. And the great thing about LinkedIn is, let's say 3 of your friends liked it, right? But that means that who they're connected to is going to see that they liked your post or your share of a post and whatever your thoughts is. That's probably the best part. I know I meet or I learn about new people in that way, where I might be following the New York Times and then I see someone commenting on the wall of that post, and then I'm checking them out, and then I'm looking at their label, and then I'm like, that looks like someone that I'd like to connect to, and then I connect with them. So it's a really good way to bring some visibility and attention to yourself. So post. Whether you're writing your own post or you're sharing one, super important. Also, you want to follow the interest groups that you care about. I don't really have that in any specific section on this page, but that's important too. That ties into the point that I was just making. So all the companies that you like, you should be following them, because people within your world, in your professional landscape, will be following them too. And it's a great way for recruiters to find you, hiring managers to find you. I know That was like my secret. I would follow CEOs. I would like their stuff. And then their not subordinates, let me not use that word. Their directors, their managers, the people that reported to the CEO would see me commenting and liking. They would check me out and then they would connect to me on LinkedIn. It's so easy. So make sure you do that. That's another tip. So articles. So if you specialize in something, you should definitely make it clear on what that skill. You should have at least one article on your LinkedIn that demonstrates that you are expert or you are proficient or you are skilled in whatever is those skills that you have. So whether it's just writing an article on something you've done at work or it's kind of like a long form, because believe it or not, posts do have a limitation on characters. So sometimes if you really have some thoughts to share, you may want to just publish an article. That way you can put some pictures behind it and you kind of, to me, articles is LinkedIn's version of blogging. So if you want to start bookmarking or kind of speaking to professional topics of interest, it's a good way to do it within LinkedIn. You don't have to build something outside of LinkedIn to do it, or you share whatever it is that you have outside of LinkedIn to LinkedIn. All right, so engagement. I spoke to this just a little bit, but I'll touch on it a little greater. It's so important on LinkedIn to stay engaged, even if it's nothing more than congratulating someone in your network who's gotten a new job. Believe me, people pay attention to who is commenting. That's why you have to make sure that you have a label and a headline. So if I'm telling someone, hey, congratulations on your new job, and they're connected to that person, they're going to see Tysha Talbot, purpose-driven entrepreneur, career coach, and then next thing you know, I'm getting a LinkedIn request saying, hey, I saw that you do career coaching. I took a peek at your website. Why? Because my website is in my LinkedIn. Everything just is all about presenting yourself in the strongest way possible. And LinkedIn it's an excellent, excellent platform to do that. So go through everything. I went through label mission. I went through summary. I went through skills and endorsements. I went through post art. Okay, no. So okay, I made a circle. All right. So inboxing, and this is kind of this ties into the networking approaches that I mentioned before, the ABC approach as well as the 3G approach. Inboxing is a great tool. Recruiters do it back to them, do it to other people that you're connected to. If you connect to someone or if someone connects to you, thank them for accepting the connection and introduce yourself. You introduce yourself how? With that elevator pitch or whatever it is specific that you want them to know. Right now, I probably got about 40, I've got about 40 inbox messages from marketing experts and people who want to sell me things, but you know what? They're shooting their shot. And I feel like inboxing is a good way on LinkedIn to shoot your professional shot. Don't be connecting with people and trying to set up a date. You can go on Facebook or Instagram for that kind of thing. All right, so moving into the next subject, groups and hashtags. Groups and hashtags. So just like Facebook, like I mentioned on Facebook, Facebook has all these groups. LinkedIn is the mecca for professional groups. So whatever it is your career is, you need to make sure that you're in probably 4 or 5 groups that share the same interests. Like for example, in my sales days, I was a part of Mid-Atlantic tech sales professionals. I was part of sales women professionals. I was part of Black girls who sell. I was a part of just everything that spoke to my career field. And it was a great way to network. And like I mentioned before, people are sharing information about their jobs. Hey, my company is hiring right now for this, this, and this, and this. So it's just a really good way to find insider information that you may not know about. Or I feel like people in groups share information before recruiters do, especially for the new job opportunities. So definitely join those groups. And then also in those groups, you can introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Tysha Talbot. I'm I've been impacted by the COVID-driven layoffs, and I am on the hunt for the next big opportunity. This is my skill set and what I have to offer. It's an easy thing to do, and people be like, hey, send me your resume. I'm telling you, these things work. And then also back to the label and tagline. I know I helped a young lady last week where her tagline read, unemployed and ready for the next big thing. Make sure you label yourself in the right way, because joining the groups and everything is important, but people need to understand what you stand for. I think that's the most important thing of all. Hashtags are also a really good way to read or to connect based off of specific topics. Like for me, example, I follow hashtags like interview tips, interview coaching, resume writing, and things of that nature. So whatever it is your professional, footprint is, if you want to follow hashtags within that, or just hashtags within things that you're passionate about, mentorship or volunteerism, or those topics you care about. Hashtags is a good way to search for information on LinkedIn. I think that was it. All right, so those are my suggestion for LinkedIn visibility must-haves. You must have these to flesh out your LinkedIn and to be as impactful as possible. All right, so moving into, let me move this over here so I can see. Social media platform boosters. So some of the things, I mentioned some of these things, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to repeat everything, but I will say this. Some ways to boost yourself within social media is make sure that your profile is aesthetically pleasing, whatever the platform is. It's just got to be catching to the eye. For example, on LinkedIn, nobody uses the cover, but everybody should be using that cover. Also, taking professional pictures. No, you don't have to pay money for a photographer. All you really need to do, honestly, is, I don't know who knows how to use Canva, but go take a selfie of yourself outside, because outside has the best light. Make sure it's on a nice day. Put on your suit. Take a selfie outside. You'd be amazed at how good it's going to look. You can take a picture. You can update your profile pic on LinkedIn yourself. You don't have to pay to get it done. Slap a filter on that. Play with the things, the lighting, shading things, and whatever your phone has. But yes, so make sure that your profile page is aesthetically pleasing. So when people look at your page, they should get a gist of who you are, where they don't have to ask questions. They can just see based off of your interests, your skill sets, how you're endorsed, your tagline, and the things that you share. That's important. Boosting your social media, liking and commenting, as I mentioned, puts eyeballs to you, which is why you want to make sure you have a good headline, because people will see your name and your headline when you comment on things on LinkedIn specifically. On other platforms, that's not necessarily the case, but when they click it, they'll look at your bio. So your bio has to also give a good sum up of who you are, what you have to offer, your label. So it's all about labeling. Recommendations, yes. Skills endorsed. So I named some of the join group. So I named most of these. Oh, but sharing is so important. When you share, make sure anything you share on any social media platform, whether you got to ask a couple of your friends to like it, when you share and people like it, people see that. That's just what it is on social media. All right, so let's see what time it is. Caroline, unmute real quick. What are you doing? How much time do I have?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm getting carried away here. Let me keep going through. All right. Thank you. All right, so back to, so this is for my entrepreneurs. These are some of the tips I like to share with entrepreneurs on the call on how to boost your platform. Hashtags, super important. Whatever it is you're offering, however you've labeled yourself, make sure that the purpose of hashtags especially like on Instagram and on LinkedIn, is so other people can see you, not the people that you're already connected to, but when you put hashtags, it's just another way of labeling yourself. So for example, as I was promoting this particular workshop, I was hashtagging things related to this workshop: free webinar, online networking, digital networking tips, visibility tips, boost your social media tips, things like that, right? So whatever the topic is, or whatever you're posting, have hashtags that correlate to it. And it just has to make sense. So whatever the label is, or whatever the audience is that you want to see it, and this is for entrepreneurs, make sure that you hashtag it. You also have to learn the algorithm strategies, because all the social media platforms have them. I know with Instagram right now, what's super popular is Reels, because it's a new tool. They're trying to compete with TikTok. So Instagram now has that 15-second video feature. And if you put up a reel, you will get views. I know, like, I was getting views in the hundreds, on my own when I would put a video, but when I made reels, I was getting 600, 700, like views, because in general, whatever the social media platform is, when you use their features, then they will make sure that you're boosted more, or they open up your visibility to more people. So that's super important. So engagement groups is something that is new to me, but it's something that has been very impactful. And this is a part of kind of like the got, give, get form of networking, where you become a part of a group, and you like their things, you comment on their stuff, you share their stuff, and they do the same thing for you. And not only does their audience see you, but the algorithm, you start moving up in the algorithm, because your post has reach, it has engagement on it. So they want to keep boosting it up from a visibility perspective, so more people can see it. So that's the key with engagement groups specifically. You just sometimes have to find them. Sometimes when you join these groups, like women entrepreneurs, or women helping women, or whatever the group is, DC entrepreneurs, or whatever the group is, that's a good way for engagement. So aesthetic feed. So this is specifically to Instagram, but there are grids and there are ways that you can build your, Instagram has 3 posts per line, can't think of the word per row. Yeah, per row. So there are things that you can do to make your page more aesthetically pleasing. I know, like for me, I toggle between colors, and some people will just have like a column feeding down where it's the same thing over and over and over again, some statement or some color. There's just a lot of different ways. You can Google this, but aesthetic feed Instagram, it really does help to boost your visibility, because it just looks good. Also ads on Facebook, ads on Instagram just will get you to, or get your content or whatever it is you want to share to more people. But my tip personally is, don't forget to show your value. Remember, people follow when there's something in it for them, whether they like what you post or they like to see what you post. You're offering value of some sort. So don't forget to showcase your value. All right, let me keep going, because we're only like halfway finished. But yeah, so in summary, I didn't even get to videos. Videos seem to be really important right now. So like selfie videos, in addition to posting, or that video where you're actually talking, that seems to do a lot better in some of the social media platforms. Also, someone asked me, I'm working with a client who asked me to help them with the professional messaging, because they wanted to just do a minute video explaining who they are and what they offer, so they can pin it to their LinkedIn. So get creative on explaining yourself. So you want to record yourself giving your elevator pitch and then pin it somewhere, or you can put it, you save it to YouTube, right? And then if you don't want the world to see it, then you put it in your signature in your email, so at least your recruiters are seeing it. That way they're sharing, your video. It's just a new way to introduce yourself online. All right, so engagement is powerful, because People care when you show that you care. So like their things, post and comment on their things, share their things, and they will do the same thing back to you. And the more engagement there is on your posts, the more visibility you have within whatever that platform is. So they will connect and follow you when they see your value. All right, so the art of the ask. I'm sorry, I spent too much time in one section, so now I'm a little behind, and I don't mean to rush, but I just want to try to get to everything possible. So the art of the ask. So this is basically, this is the last section before we wrap up, but I wanted to leave just some do's or don'ts when it comes to networking and posturing yourself for ask. So remember, do connect, do ask, but don't offend anyone. So the first one, do check the temperature. So is there an invitation for networking and connecting? So, and what I mean by this is check the temperature, meaning you don't ever really want to do a cold or a blind networking or a cold or a blind ask. You never want to do that because if there's nothing in it for them, they'll ignore you, or you don't want anyone thinking that you're weird. You want to network and maximize your network when there's been establishment that networking and connected is invited, is invited. I was trying to think of another word, but I'll go with invited. So check the temperature to make sure that the tone is right for networking connection. Watch your blind connecting. You just have to be very careful on asking strangers for help. All right. Do build. So you ask questions, you show interest, and again, you engage. So when you connect with them, like their stuff, participate. That way, when it's time to make your ask, they're like, oh yeah, that person, yeah, they like, I see them, engaging with me. People do notice that kind of thing. All right. Now, don't over ask. Make sure that you are measuring the risk of your ask for the other person. Like, for example, as an entrepreneur, I try to connect mainly with people who are kind of in my sphere of influence. Am I going to reach out to Oprah asking her to share something for me? No, that's an over ask. I wouldn't do it. You just want to make sure that you understand that what's in it for them. If they want to mentor, if they want to put you on, that's one thing. But you have to remember that no one is really going to be willing to risk their credibility when you're asking them for something that where you haven't shown your value or that it's okay for them to do it. All right, so I just want to leave you with that. But these are my do's or don'ts for asking effectively. All right. So, okay. We're just about done. And I thank you for tracking with me as I discuss the tips and the strategies. I know this was a lot. Caroline, thank you for recording. I wasn't going to share it, but I think I will because I feel like I dropped a lot of gems. So I was happy today to discuss tips and strategies for boosting your online presence and visibility and providing strategic approaches to networking with impact. And I want to leave you with these 3 thoughts. First is to look like a professional, and we kind of discussed that already, but dress up to be viewed online, whether it's in person or just fleshing out your profile so it looks good. You look the part, okay? So look like a professional. That's my first thought. The second thought, introduce yourself impactfully. You gotta hit who you are, why people should care, what you have to offer. You have to do that. You just have to master that. So practice your elevator pitch, the thing that you want to introduce or the thing that you want people to know or the thing that you want to promote in a networking landscape. So introduce yourself impactfully. And the third thing, make those connections, share your value, and then artfully ask for what it is that you need. Again, you have to communicate, you have to align, broker, and communicate. Then you also have to show what you've got, what you can give, and then ask, what you ask for got, give, get. So make your ask at the end as well. All right, so this concludes my presentation. I thank you for staying to the end. I'd love to see you hit all the goals and all the things professionally. So I just want to, if we could just pause, take a quick pause, and I want to talk to you about my offerings and how I can be of service to you. All right, so I do offer coaching services one-on-one. And like I said, I'm a professional messaging expert. So I specialize in resume services, interview coaching, and really just helping people to develop their professional story and sharing it. All right. And I focus on kind of just helping you present your story with as impactful as possible. All right. Whoops, sorry. All right. Next. So my customer value offering. So Professionally Paused is an authorized mood distributor. So I do offer professional business cards and stationery to my clients. Anything you see on the website Moo, which is a direct competitor to Vistaprint, they specialize in high luxury professional stationery. You can get for 30% off by placing your order through my website. So professional headshots, this is only available locally in the DMV where I'm from, Washington, DC Metro. And it's not something that I'm going to offer every weekend, COVID, because of COVID, but seasonally, I do have a professional photographer that I work with now for 15-minute professional studio session for quality professional imaging. So definitely follow me online if that's something that you're interested in, and I'll make sure to let you know the next time we set up the professional portrait and imaging time. All right, so some of my online and digital offerings. I now have a course available called Tips for the Professional. It's a 2-part training. On the first part, I focus on interviewing, talk through how to look, act, and message like a professional. And in the second part of the training, I'm giving a 90-day strategic plan for better aligning and navigating to your company's environment. So basically, how to start your 90 days as strong as possible. So how to get the job, how to keep the job, or how to get the job, how to start the job, and how to keep the job. That's kind of what Tips for the Professional is, as succinctly as I could put it. I also have a Professionally Paused guide to interviewing. It's a 16-page document. It's a 6-part guide. I provide tactical tips, strategies, all the things you need to know that you can immediately employ for interviewing success. Keep doing that. Here's all my contact info. Let's stay connected. I know most of you are, but there are some people on here that I'm not connected to. So you can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn. You can email me at hi@coachtasha.com. I have 2 websites. I have coachtasha.com. That is my blog. There's articles there. There's free resources there. You can book me for time there. And then my shop is there. And then professionallypaused.com has all my digital training. It'll showcase or highlight any type of, if I'm hosting a webinar, monthly, anything. So it's all my digital offerings and digital training on professionallypaused.com. Also, I have a Professionally Paused page, and I now have, I gotta add, I now have a Professionally Paused LinkedIn page. So everybody, please stop what you're doing right now, go to LinkedIn and like my page. It's brand new. It's not even 48 hours old yet. I need some followers, please and thank you. Okay. All right. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this helpful. For those who were kind of at the top of the hour, it's 2, but I am happy to stay on for some Q&A. If anyone has anything that they want to ask me, Caroline, if you could open, or everyone, I think you can unmute yourself at this time. Oh, please go vote. that too. All right, so does anyone have any questions on anything that I discussed?
Everyone's just saying how awesome the presentation was.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. This is new. This is a new one for me. I feel like people need to know these things, like we live in a time where we're no longer working from home. We're living at work. And I just feel like people make the mistake of not networking while they still have the job. People can help you the most when you're employed. So this is the last Coach Tasha tip. Do not wait to network. You don't want to be out of work trying to network. You want to be working, connecting while you're at work. That's what I got for you. All right. No questions really, but no, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it.
No questions.
All right, no questions. All right, well, I release you. Stay encouraged and stay professional, everybody. Bye-bye now.